We've got the top 10 must-adds in fantasy basketball this week coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. We're going to take a look at the top 10 must-adds for this week in fantasy basketball. If you're a fan of this type of content, of course, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so already, and ring that notification bell so that way you'll be notified whenever we drop an episode. If you know of a player who deserves to be on this list, be sure to leave a comment down below and tell me who that is. As a reminder here, we are looking for players who are available in 40% of leagues or more. That's who we'll be focusing in on this list here today. And this list is partnered with Thrive Fantasy. Use the promo code BEATTHEODDS to get 100% first deposit match up to $250. And if you bet on Steph Curry making 1 point on Tuesday's game, you win. All right, let's jump into the list here. At number 10, we got Mo Wagner, 20 minutes per game. 29% owned. He had 13 points per game over the last 2 weeks, 3.9 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 0.4 threes, 0.4 steals, 0.1 blocks, 0.9 turnovers on 61% shooting from the field and 85% from the line. Wagner and Goga Bitadze have been splitting time at center with Wendell Carter Jr. out. There's talk of him coming back and nearing a return. My money, though, is on Mo to be the least affected of the two when that happens. Wagner is a beast in the per 36. If you're looking at the offense, that offense is off the charts, but it doesn't seem like anybody outside of Paolo Banchero and Mo's brother Franz is consistently going to be collecting 30 minutes per game. Mo is a good pickup until Wendell Carter Jr. returns. All right, let's go to number 9. We got Jaime Jaquez Jr., 42% owned, 32 minutes per game over the last 2 weeks, 14.8 points, 4.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.9 threes, 1 steal, 0.1 blocks, 1.8 turnovers, on 52% shooting from the field and 82% from the line. Jaquez, at 22, is more game-tested than most of his rookie class, which is great for Miami as he's making an immediate impact on that team. He's a more polished offensive player with good court awareness. Jaquez seems to be locked into a solid role for the Heat, and that should last even when Hero returns from his ankle injury. To number 8, we got Dario Saric, 30% owned, 25 minutes per game over the last 2 weeks, 15 points, 6.1 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 2.1 threes, 1.3 steals, 0.1 blocks, 1.4 turnovers, on 49% shooting from the field and 86% from the line. Saric is single-handedly shooting his way back into fantasy relevance. He has knocked down multiple threes in 5 of the last 6 games while holding very strong percentages. With Draymond Green's suspension coming to an end, I'd expect that Saric will lose some touches. However, he can certainly be still rostered as he's earned the trust of Coach Kerr and will likely be leaned on to contribute on this team. To number 7 we go. We have Eric Gordon, 48% owned, 34 minutes per game over the last 2 weeks, 15.3 points, 2 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 3.5 threes, 1.2 steals, 0.7 blocks, 1.5 turnovers on 46% shooting from the field and 78% from the line. Bradley Beal is still out another 2 weeks with a low back strain, which is the type of injury that has a history of flaring up during the course of the season. Gordon is the preferred replacement, and he has been lights out in recent weeks, knocking down threes on 3 or more threes in 5 of the last 6 games. The Suns won each of those games, so I really don't see them making changes to that lineup anytime soon. To number 6 we have Kobe White, 56% owned, 32 minutes per game over the last 2 weeks. He had 14 points, 2.1 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 3.3 threes, 1.1 steals, 0.1 blocks, and 2.3 turnovers on 44% shooting from the field and 57% from the line. The Bulls are simply a mess. They don't really have a true facilitator on their team. White isn't really that guy, but his scoring has been on fire over the last week. Out of the 25 made field goals in White's last 4 games, 19 of those makes were from beyond the arc. Now, if he can get assists above 5 per game on a regular basis, he'd be exactly what the Bulls need to finish off the year at the point guard position. Let's go to number 5. We have Jaden Ivey, 35% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he averaged 25 minutes on 13.2 points, 2.7 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 0.7 threes, 0.8 steals, 0.2 blocks, 2.7 turnovers, on 57% shooting from the field and 74% from the line. He's officially back. The second-year guard is in the starting lineup and has been paired up real nicely here with Cade over the last couple of games. He's averaged almost 30 minutes per game over his last 4, capped off by a 25-point performance against Indiana. Ivy has proven himself roster-worthy in the past, and if he can get back some of his playmaking that we saw last year, he would turn into a must-add roster player here once again. Let's move to number 4. We have Saddiq Bey, 48% owned. Played 29 minutes per game over the last 2 weeks here. 14.8 points, 5.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.5 threes, 1.3 steals, 0.2 blocks, 1.3 turnovers on 54% shooting from the field and 70% from the line. I think it's official that Bey has figured out his offense. After being labeled as an ineffective scorer pretty much his entire career, he's starting to prove his critics wrong. Bey has improved his field goal percentage by over 70 points since last year, with Atlanta becoming one of the highest scoring teams in the NBA and Jalen Johnson dealing with a wrist issue. Bey might be looking at some pretty big lines here coming up this week. Let's go to number 3. We have Keontae George, 45% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he averaged 29 minutes and 12.8 points, 4 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 2.2 threes, 0.8 steals, no blocks, 2.8 turnovers, on 32% shooting from the field and 85% from the line. Keontae may end up with awful shooting percentages this year, but that's not going to stop me from picking up as many shares of him as I can. He's got the keys to run the team, and he's doing plenty of rebounding and facilitating to stomach the poor shooting. I see his percentages improving, which will make George a fun player to own all season long. Let's go to number 2. We have DeAndre Hunter, 50% owned in leagues over the last 2 weeks. He averaged 29 minutes and 13.7 points, 4.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 1.7 threes, 0.8 steals, 0.3 blocks, 1.3 turnovers, on 48% shooting from the field and 92% from the line. Like Saddiq Bey, Hunter is in a great position with the Hawks. I give Hunter the edge over Bey because he starts and will likely end up with more minutes than Bey as well. Now, Hunter is also a better defender as well, and he should be able to see the lion's share of minutes. I believe Jalen Johnson's absence will boost Hunter probably to the number 3 option on that team. In that case here, he is going to be must-own over the next week or so. And finally, at number 1, we have Scoot Henderson, 58% owned, 17 minutes. In the last game that he played, he had 3 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 turnovers on 14% shooting from the field and 50% from the line. Now, other managers' impatience on Scoot Henderson is now your gain. If he's available in your leagues, if somebody dropped him, do not miss out on the opportunity to pick up a player that some experts have predicted would challenge for Rookie of the Year against Chet and Wemby. He will regain the starting role after a little while, and with a few more games, of course, under his belt, we will witness the skill set that will help Portland fans move on post Dame Lillard. And that's going to do it here for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We're going to sign off for now, but we are going to catch you guys on our next episode.